Okay, so those things we'll discuss today. So after that, we'll take one example how to draw the ER diagram for one more thing. So whatever we discussed is related to company. So other than that, one example we'll take it, then we'll discuss it. Okay, so I think screen is visible. The screen is visible. Screen is visible now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so here this the previous class we started about drawing the ER diagram. Okay, so at that time we were discussing about here. Okay, one by one things whatever we'll add it, there is nothing but first we'll add entity types. Okay, so here entity type employee, department, project, and dependent we added. So related to that, first we'll write the then attributes. Okay, so these attributes were listed. So here also attributes were listed. So for all entity type, okay, we'll list the attributes. So these all attributes we listed. So in this, so if it is multi-valued, what we'll do is we'll write two ways. Like here, this is a multi-valued location. Okay, if any primary key is there, that will underline it. So here this is a primary key, so both are the keys. Okay, so here we'll underline it. Okay, if any composite one is there, so that will write a different attributes also will list it. So in this composition, what all things are there, that will list it. So this is the composition name, so whatever we had it. So like this, first entity type, then we return about, after that we return about actually that is a attributes. So after that we have to check any relationship is there between the entities. Okay, that is employee to department, we are checking it. Okay, so like that any relation is there, we are checking it. So after that, one by one, so that relationship type we are adding it. Okay, so here for employee we have a employee will work for department. Okay, so we return as a work for then department. Okay, so only this one we studied, we're not studied about managers. So what is that we'll study now. Okay, then employee, he works on some project. Okay, so in this relationship type we return it. Okay, then employee had some dependents. Okay, so here one name dependents of, we given employees dependents of these people. Okay, so we given those things. So like this we return the actually relationship types. Okay, so while writing the relationship types we return some ratio also, n is to 1, 1 is to 1. Okay, so m is to n, like we return ratios. So here works on, okay, dependence of. Okay, so these three we studied. Okay, so after that remaining things, here if you saw has a managers is there, controls there. Okay, and supervision is there. Okay, these three relationship types were not studied. Okay, so what all those we'll study now. And if you saw something extra we have here as a start date. Okay, so on relationship type we have something. So here also it's there as a verse. So what all those things we'll study now. Okay, so here for this database we had a constraint as a there will be a manager for each department. Okay, so one manager will be there for each department. So here we're saying as a one employee, okay, who manages the one department. So there is a manager, so there is a relation already we had as a employee will work for one department was there. So along with working, there is one more extra part is nothing but there will be a managing. So one supervisor will be there, he will be managing the one department. Okay, so how many departments will be there, those many supervisors will be there. That is nothing but we are saying as a one to one relationship. Here one supervisor will be there in employee, so who will be managing the one department. So that is what one to one relation. Here also one will return, here also one will return. And this relationship type we are saying as a manages. Okay, so along with this, if you saw whatever we had, that is second. Okay, So here this is the actually we had the question type. Okay, there's something, but here we used here we had as a employee who manage the department. So for that information also will keep it. There is nothing but his name, number, those things will be there. Okay, so along with that we had as a start date, something we have as a start date for the department, whoever is joining as a supervisor. Okay, that is a nothing but a head of that department. So he, for that will be there as a start date when he is joining it. Okay, so that information also we have to keep it. So that is a one extra attribute to have. So that attribute should be written somewhere. Okay, so if I return inside this entity type, what will happen? So that start date, if I return here, what will happen? All employees should have the start date. Okay, so it means if I have in my database only 5 departments and 100 employees, so all 100 employees will be having this attribute. So only 5 people has the valid data because they are the supervisors. Only 5 departments are there, means 5 supervisors will be there. So 5 employees will be having this actual data, that is a start date. So which date they joined as a head of the department, that will be there. So remaining 95 were to fill as a empty. Okay, so here we can't keep it. So there's a overburden. 95 people were keeping that empty is a overburden. Okay, if I kept here, okay, so there is nothing but instead of that attribute placing in this entity type, if I kept in department, so if I kept in department as a start date, who joined that time we will not come to know. Okay, because so they will be there as a start date. So after maybe some days, maybe that head of the department will change it. So that time who joined, that employee name or employee number will not be having it in this department, because in this department we have only as a department number, department name, and department location we have it. So who joined, that information will not be there. So we can't keep it here also. So there is a intermediate both together. So it is nothing but relation we have. For this relationship type also we can give the attribute. Okay, so intermediate, for this relationship type also we can give the attributes. That is nothing but we are saying as a, whenever we are connecting, that is employee, this one employee is managing this one department. So for that, whatever relationship is there, like whatever we used to draw it in diagram, r1 r2, these things. Okay, so whatever we used to draw it, for this we are writing as a one entity, one attribute now. Okay, so for that one attribute will write as a start date. So here relationship type has the start date. Okay, like that here also, if you saw employees works for uh, project. Okay, so here we are writing as a hours. So he's employees working for more number of projects. So each project has the number of different hours he is working it. So in this one, in project, so overall what will be there, where is project is located, project number and project name is there. Okay, so only this information is there. And here he is working on some project information, whatever we are giving the this relationship type. So how many hours he is working for each project, he has to write it. So maybe this one employee is working for 5 projects, one employee is working for one project only. So keeping information here also is a overburden. So for that what we are doing is, for a relationship type only we are giving the attribute, that is hours we are giving as a attribute for the relationship type only. So we can give the attributes for a relationship type also. Okay, so these two whatever we have, that is nothing but we are giving as a, for a relationship type only we are giving the attributes. Okay, so this is a relationship type we are giving the attributes. So other than that, what all things we can do it, if you saw here one more thing is there is a supervision. Okay, so this is a normally relationship type whatever we saw here. Okay, one two three or four, this one fifth. So these all 5 whatever is there, there is a connection between two entity types. So here employee is there, here department is there, here department and project, this is the relationship type between two entity types, this relationship is there. But if you saw here supervision, so this is nothing but between one entity only. Okay, that is employee managing other employees. Okay, that is nothing but he is a head of the department. So what he is doing is, under him maybe 5 or 6 people will be there. So under him whatever is working, that is nothing but he is a supervisor. So there is a relationship between this entity itself. Okay, there is a one relationship between this entity itself. Okay, so for that we'll say as a recursion. There's nothing but this entity has a relationship with this entity only, so that is a recursion. So we'll call it as a recursion relationship. So here we have a recursion relationship, that is nothing but one employee managing some n number of employees. Okay, so for that we are giving name as a one employee, he is a supervisor. Okay, supervision we are saying that is nothing but he is monitoring, that is n number of employees, that is nothing but supervise, you will call it. So you can give the name or you can leave it, it's left to you. So like this you can give the name or you can leave it. So here one employee is managing n number of people under him. Okay, so there is a relation between this entity only, so we will be having one relationship type. So like that, if in your problem statement if you have any thing like you will manage it or you will monitor it, and those things are belongs to the same entity type, so you will be getting the always recursion relationship. Okay, so it depends on the problem statement whatever is given it. Okay, depending on that you will get the this recursion relationship. So other than this, one more thing we missed is here is department controls project. Okay, so all projects should be related to any one department. Okay, so one department can have n number of projects, so that's why we have as a 1 is to n here. Okay, so 1 is to n, this is nothing but we are saying as a 1 is to n. So one department can handle n number of projects. Okay, so any doubts other than this? So I think we covered all the relationship types. Now we'll see, that is here somewhere if we saw relationship type we have two lines. Okay, here also two lines. If you saw here this one, this is a one line only. Okay, so that is nothing but we were saying as a this is a total participation, is one line means partial participation. Okay, so two lines means total participation, one line means partial participation. What is a relation between this total participation and partial participation is nothing but, suppose here whenever we are writing this relationship type, so along with entity types it will be have as a total participation or partial participation. So now here we are saying is a, to remain this employee he has to belongs to any one of the department. Okay, so the statement I'm saying is a, to remain in our company, okay, this is company, so remain in company he has to belongs to any one department at least, otherwise he can't become as an employee. So it means this employee is completely dependent on one of the department. Okay, so this employee is dependent on one of the department, it means he has to work for at least one department. So what we are saying is, to remain an employee, this he has to belongs to this works for relationship type. Okay, so to remain as a employee, so he has to belongs to this works for relationship type. So this is nothing but total participation. Okay, otherwise he can't become an employee only. So this is a total participation. What we are doing is two lines we are writing it. And to remain a department at least one employee should be there. Okay, to remain one department, in the department at least one employee should be there. If employees are not there means the department itself will not be there. Okay, so I'm saying once again, so here if to remain to existence of this department at least one employee should be there. If employee is not there means that department itself will not exist. Okay, so what is in this department is completely dependent on employee. Okay, so that's why here participation, no, okay, that is total participation is there. So to remain this department we required employees, otherwise this department will not exist. Okay, so that's why this is a total participation. Okay, so here if you saw department and project. Okay, so department controls projects. Okay, we have here partial participation, here we have total participation. Single line means partial participation. So to remain a department there need not be a project. Okay, I have the department but in the department we don't have the project, that is fine. Okay, but if a project is there means it has to completely belongs to one department at least. Okay, to remain a project means it has to belongs to one department. So that's why what we are saying is here project is completely dependent on department, so this is a total participation. And what about department? So in department you may have the project or may not. Okay, so it's left to the company rules. This is, you may have the project or may not in that department, so department will exist. So that's why this is partial participation. Okay, am I clear? Any doubts? Give quick reply or unmute yourself and say it. I'll repeat this part. Okay, so here we're saying as a controls. Here we're saying as a one line, there is nothing but partial participation. Two lines, this is nothing but total participation. Okay, so to existence of this department, it will remain as a department, and it may have project or not. Okay, so it may have project or not, that is nothing but this department controls any projects or not. Irrespective of that, the department will exist. Okay, so that's why this is a partial participation. And here if you saw projects, so if project is there means there should be one department which has to control it. Okay, so that's why this is a total participation. Total participation means this existence of this project is completely dependent on department, so this is a total participation. Okay, here this is a partial, so that's why one line we written it. And if you saw this side, this is a weak entity. Okay, so always weak entity is dependent on some strong entity. Okay, so here we'll say as a this weak entity is always dependent on some strong entity. So whatever relation is there, so this relationship always has a total participation. Okay, with weak entity, with weak entity whatever relationship will be there, this will be always will be having the total participation. And strong entity always will be having the partial participation. Okay, so this is not dependent on dependents. Okay, so like employee, to become a employee, that employee should not have any dependent, maybe he's alone only. Okay, so he need not have the dependents. But dependents, to exist in this database, they should have at least one employee. Okay, these dependents, they should have at least their own relatives as a one employee, then only their entry will come in this database. So that's why this is a total participation. And from this side, this is a partial participation. Any doubts in this one? We'll take one example and we'll try to write it. We'll take one different example and we'll try to write it. Okay, any doubts till now? No. Okay, so here, now consider as a, now we want to write a ER diagram for hospital management system. Okay, so that's nothing but in a hospital, what all things will be there. Okay, and how they are correlated. So you consider the one, for one hospital you want to develop one software. Okay, so how you want to develop it, it's left to you only. Okay, so only hospital management system is told, so you are not given any specific requirements. Okay, so in your exam also it will same thing will come, for write a ER diagram for hospital management system, like that. Okay, so what all things will come, so how many entity types will be there, okay, what are the attributes, those all things we have to write it. So make this one as an interactive, unmute yourself and tell it. Okay, so how many entity types will come? Okay. In a hospital management system, how many? Okay, so consider the one hospital is there. For that, so you want to write, for that you want to create a some software. Okay, so normally if you are considering a hospital, who all will come? Make this one as an interactive. Okay, reply in chat box or unmute yourself and say it. This is by default 10 marks. How you will write it, you will come to know easily. Okay, doctor, nurse, patients, correct. So patient information, yes. Okay, so by default, if you are considering any normal small hospital also, if you are considering, patient will be there, doctor will be there, two things. Okay, nurse depends on that hospital capacity. Okay, some nurse will be there or not, or some supporting staff will be there. Okay, maybe attender. Okay, uh, or receptionist, depending on that. So what I will do is here I will consider as a suppose entity types. So one I will consider this is doctor. Okay, then one more I will consider as a patient. Okay. Hmm. So two entity types. So remaining nurse, okay, other staff, everything together I will say as a one entity type, only staff. Okay, so all together only nurse, receptionist, or attender, whatever we'll say, all together I will call it as a commonly as a staff now. Okay, so other than this, anything will come. Registration number, record. No, those things how you are maintaining it. Okay, treatment. Yes, they will treat. Treatment will happen. There is nothing but treatment in the sense they are giving some medicine. Correct. Okay, so it is nothing but so doc. Whenever patient is visiting this one, doctor, he will write some medicine. Okay, so entire this medicine part I will add as a okay one entity type. Okay, so medicine. Okay, okay, appointment details. Okay, so some details will be there. There is nothing but patient when he has to contact to the doctor. Okay, so I am asking about now. This is nothing but entity types. I am asking it. Okay, so other than that, this is nothing but whatever you people are saying. That is the registration number, appointment details. Those are nothing but whenever you are keeping the some information, those are will come as attributes. Okay, that maybe as an appointment, maybe some staff is maintaining that one. Okay, so or patient he will book it online maybe. Okay, so that time he will call one number. Okay, his appointment will get fixed. Okay, so like that. Okay, so he's contacting the staff for that time, or he's contacting the online existing one system only. Okay, so like that will be there. So entity types, how many different types of entity types will be there? First we'll see that one. Okay, so as of now I listed four. Any other thing will come? So if you want here, you can divide this one as a nurse also and different attenders also. That is also there. Okay. And if you want, you can create as a rooms. Different rooms will be there. So like for a hospitalization, completely first class room, second class room, general ward, all those things will be there. Like that, you can create as a one more entity type as a room also. Okay. It's left to you how you want to do it. So depending on this, situation, how you want to give the solution. Okay, so how your software you want to build it, so like that you will give the solution. Okay, so like that you will draw the ER diagram. So whenever now you are writing with respect to exam point of view, now if you are writing it, so that time if possible, consider only 5 entity types. Okay, so in real time, so whatever we are discussing, like that it will come more thing. Okay, so but whenever you are writing with respect to ER diagrams, so better consider as a 4 or 5 only, so that your diagram will be clear. Okay, otherwise you will mess up with complete diagram. You will write so many things, and for a evaluator also he will not understand. Also, that is a difficult part at that time. Okay, okay, so if possible 4 or 5 entity types you draw it, then you leave it. Okay, so now I'm considering as a here four. Okay, and in this four only, what you have to do is you have to try to cover the all the whatever things were studied. Okay, so those all concepts you have to try to write it here, because depending on the concepts you will be having the marks also there. Okay, so marks is divided into different concepts, what all things you written it depending on that. So like here if you consider these four. Okay, so now doctor, patient, medicine, staff. Okay, so now whatever if you consider for my this database, all are necessary. These four are necessary only completely. So many other things are there, those are necessary. Now I'm considering this small for a small answer, that is a four all are necessary. Okay, there is something what if you consider these four as a strong entity types, all four are the strong entity types. Okay, so if I drawn complete ER diagram in this one, I am not able to write a weak entity type. Okay, that is a concept we studied, but I am not able to represent weak entity type in this one. So if possible, try to add weak entity type here. Okay, so now again we will add something as a weak entity type. I will add as a here as a something as a relative. Okay, so along with patient, one relative or one friend, he will come with patient, or there is a contact number always that patient will provide for this relative or this friend. Okay, so this is some relative is there. So this is a weak entity type. So weak entity type, what we'll do is always will represent in two rectangles. So this is I'm representing as a two rectangles. So these all are the four weak entity types. If you are writing more entity type, that is fine, but you should not mess up with your diagram. So I'm taking as a less number of entity types. Okay. So now after writing these things, now you have to, what you have to do is you have to write the attributes. Okay. So this is a, I'm considering as a only five attributes as of now. After this, we have to write the, sorry, five entity types. Now you have to consider the attributes. Okay, so for this one also we'll consider as in hospital maybe more than one doctors are there, so there will be a ID. Okay, so here one ID, that is nothing but one number will be there. Okay, so whenever patient will come, for that also you will give some ID. So to differentiate between these two IDs, what I will do is here I will write as a PID, there is nothing but patient ID. Here I will make as a, this is doctor ID. Okay, so then same thing, staff also he will be having the some number. Okay, so to identify individually, so this is SID I will make it. Okay, so this is underline, if I did it, this is nothing but this is a key. Okay, so these are the keys I have it. So other than that, what all things I can write it? So here I can write as his name. Okay, so then maybe his address, his qualification. Okay, MD is there or MBBS, all those things you can write it. So many things you can write it. So those all are attributes you can write it. Same thing for here also, name, address, date of birth. Okay, phone number, all those things you can take it. And for a patient also, so many things you can write it. So different attributes you can add it. So I'm not listing it, so whatever I'm saying like that, you can add here these all things. Okay, so if possible here you make it as a, there is a nothing but composite one. Okay, so consider as a name. Okay, so in this name you here has his first name, last name, like that. Composite one if possible make it, first name last name you can make it. Okay, and if possible make it as a something as a derived one. Derived one is nothing but already if you have something as a database in your attribute, so from that can you derive any other attribute. Okay, for example age, suppose consider as a, here only we can write as a age. So that is a derived one. Suppose I have as a date of birth as a one attribute in my database, so age will come as a derived one. So that is nothing but here we will write this derived one is a with using dotted lines. Okay, so here dotted lines will write it. So that is dotted lines, this is the derived one. So like this, first entity types you have to write it, then corresponding attributes. Now one by one relationship you have to identify it. So here there is a relationship between any other entity types are there or not, we'll write it. So first we'll see doctor and patient thing. Okay, till now any doubts first? Okay. Okay, no. Okay, so here what we'll do is there is a relationship. So one name you have to give it. So it's left to you how you want to give the name. Okay, so don't give as a ABCD if possible. Give as a something valid name. Okay, so patient consults doctor, like that. Consults you can write it. Okay, or anything you feel as a, it's a one proper word that you can write it. Okay, so he visits. Okay, so whatever like that, some name you have to give it, and that make sure that that name is not repeated in your ER diagram. Okay, so individual unique name you have to write it for each relationship type. Okay, so here we are saying is concerning to the doctor. Okay, so now we'll see the participation. Okay, so is it totally dependent on this doctor? This patient is totally dependent on this doctor? No, there's nothing but two lines you have to write it, or one line. So by default one line will come, I written one line. So is it a total participation is there, or partial participation is there? Okay, partial participation means I have to write only one line. Total participation means I have to write two lines. Okay, so when you will say as a two lines, that is nothing but total participation if this entity completely depends on this side entity. So that time I'll write here total participation. Okay, so now can I say as a patient is completely dependent on doctor, or reverse way, doctor is completely dependent on patient? So can I make it as a two lines here? Okay,
No,
If
sir.
possible, unmute yourself and say it. It's better. Okay. If possible, more number of people unmute yourself and say it. If it is interactive, you'll remember also. It's easy for you also that time. Okay. Can I say the patient is dependent
No,
on
sir.
doctor? No, he is not dependent. Maybe he will take medicine outside. Okay, he will not visit doctor only. It depends how you are looking for the problem. Okay, so suppose you are saying as a no, if he become as a ill means definitely he will visit the doctor. If you are saying the your problem statement like that, so it will come as a total participation. Okay, so how you are making your problem statement, depending on that this solution will come. Okay, and if you saw it as a what we question is there, like as a draw a diagram for hospital management system. He's not given any specific one. Okay, so that time what you have to make it, you have to create your own problem statement only. Okay, so there is nothing but we are saying as a here patient is not dependent on doctor. Okay, so maybe in my system, whatever solution I want to give it, so patient is completely not dependent on doctor. Maybe directly he will take the medicine outside and he will get cure. Okay, so that's why this is not total participation. And what about this one? Is doctor is completely dependent on patient? Reverse way, is it true? Is doctor is completely dependent on patient? Yes or no? You have two options only. Say it. Yes or no? Is doctor is dependent on patient? Yeah.
So I feel yes because based on patient only he's going to earn, right? So yes.
Okay. Okay. It's okay. So this again kind of contradictory statements will come. Okay, it depends again how you want to write your system. Okay, suppose you are considering whatever she said like that. Okay, if he is earning depending on this patient only means he can have as a this is total participation. Okay, so one more thing we can say is a he got the degree already. He's doctor. Let the patient come or not, he's doctor only. Correct. So depend this depend doctor. He become the doctor. He is a doctor irrespective of patient will come or not. He is a doctor only. So he is not completely dependent on patient. Okay. Just this is a discussion point. I'm saying it. So it irrespective of this one, whatever problem statement you are making it, depending on that you have to write it. Okay. So if whatever we are following, whatever she was telling, like for a hospital we required. So this is a total participation. So these things will make the difference. So here whatever you are writing the total participation, from my view maybe this is a partial participation, from your view this is a total participation. So whatever you are making here, this one you have to write it in explanation. Okay, this is the thing you have to you have to make clear as a for a answer sheet. Okay, so why you are taking this one as a total participation? Okay, there is nothing but, so you are saying as a to existence of this doctor, you are saying as if patient is there means only he will be the doctor, he will remain in this database, otherwise maybe he will lose his job like that. Okay, so if you are making that statement, there is nothing but you are saying is that doctor should be completely dependent on patient. Okay, so that time you have to make this a two lines, there's nothing but total participation. Okay, and what about cardinality ratio? What about cardinality ratio? Cardinality ratio is nothing but how many patients will visit how many doctors, like that. So here I will say as a n number of patients will visit one doctor. Okay, so it is nothing but one doctor will see n number of patients. Okay, like that. Or can we say as a one patient is visiting n number of doctors?
Depends.
Depends, correct. It depends. There is nothing but maybe whatever problem he have, depending on that problem statement. Okay, so here I will make this is m is to n. So n number of patients are contacting to the m number of doctors, or you can say as a m number of doctors are visiting n number of patients, like that. Okay, depends. Depending on the situation, it will come. It may be n is to 1 or n is to m. Okay, it may be anything. Or it will not happen as a here n will come, here 1 will come. Okay, so there is okay, more number of patients will visit to the one doctor. So here at least n will come. There is a minimum thing. So here m or 1, depending on the problem statement, whatever you are making it, it will come with. Okay, so like that, now we have to see it, any relationship is there between these two. Okay, so here now we'll see it. So all combinations you have to check it. So now we'll see, so any relation is there between these two. Okay, so now doctor to staff in relation is there, maybe will be there, maybe he will call this attender or nurse for helping purpose, all those things. Okay, so now we'll see any total participation is there or partial participation is there. So is it doctor is completely dependent on staff? Is this doctor is
No,
completely
sir.
dependent on staff? No. His staff is completely dependent on doctor? Okay, so here again, this is the point of discussion again. His staff is completely dependent on doctor or not. Okay, so it's left to you how you will make the problem statement again. So in the existence of this staff, maybe this doctor is required compulsory or may not. It's like how you are seeing this problem. It depends on that. It will come it. And what about cardinality ratio? 1 is to n will come or m is to n will come. One doctor may require n number of attenders. Okay, or n number of attenders are visiting, again m number of doctors, n is to m, again it depends. So whatever problem statement you are making is like that. So here already one I written, that is n is to m. So if possible, I will write this one as a, so for each doctor there are different attenders. Okay, so in my problem statement I'm considering as a one doctor may have n number of staffs. Okay, maybe nurse and other attenders together, n number of staffs are there under one doctor. Okay, like that we can make it. Now we'll see any relation is there between these two. Okay, that is doctor and medicine. Any relation is there?
Yes.
So
Yes, sir.
sometimes the doctor gives medicines to take
Correct.
it to patient, and
Yes.
sometimes they write the medicines
Prescription, yes, correct.
like in the
They
receipt
will
and
write
all.
it. They will write it. So there is a relation between these. Okay, so here one doctor will write n number of medicines. Okay, and any total participation will come in between these. So is it doctor is completely dependent on medicine, or medicine is completely
No,
dependent
sir.
on doctor? Okay,
No, sir. It is single.
so this is a single. Okay, so how you are looking at, depending on that, this will come. So here we're saying is a both are partial participation only. Okay, so here cardinality ratio I'm taking as a one doctor will write n number of medicines. Okay, or n number of medicines he will give it. Okay, so now we'll see between relation between these two. So any patient and medicine relation. Okay, anything will be there. Obviously if he's a patient means he have to concern the he have to take the medicine. Okay, so here compulsory this relation will be there, that relation. So is it a total participation or partial participation? So patient is completely dependent on medicine.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir. Patient is
yes,
completely dependent on
yes.
medicine.
So
But we
now this
can't
is a
say both the way. Like
correct.
medicines,
Medicine is
people
completely
can
not
take
dependent.
or no.
Leave it. Yes. So this is a partial participation. So here we'll write as a total. So what about this one, cardinality ratio? 1 is to n or m is to n? Anything here? So n number of patients will take, so, or consider as a one patient will take n number of medicines. Okay, or uh, one medicine will be taken by n number of patients also. So it's a multi-way, both side. So again, I will write this is m is to n. Okay, so two-way, one patient can take n number of medicines, or one medicine can be taken by n number of patients also. Okay, so that's why I'll write as a m is to n. Okay, so now any relation is there between the staff and medicine?
So it depends again. Like if doctor
Depend.
says to get those medicines, then
Correct.
only, or else.
Yes,
There
okay,
is
like
no such
some,
relation.
yes, you can sometimes there is their relation. So whatever problem statement you are making it, depending on that. So I don't want to make it anything here. I will leave it. Okay, so it's left to you. If you want to draw it, you can draw it. Okay, it is not mandatory as a you have to leave it. So it's left to you. You can draw it here. Okay. So depending on situation, whatever you are writing it, make sure as that this diagram should be clear. Okay, and you have to capture all the concepts also. Okay, it should not happen as a you should mess up with all the things, which line is going, which entity type is connected, all those things. If it is not visible properly, it will be difficult for you only. Okay, so make sure that it's a clear, visible, and main part all should be covered. Okay. Okay, so now here one more thing, patient and relatives. Okay, so here we'll draw it. That is, so this patient is have some relation with maybe friend or some relative is there. Okay, so consider as a dependent, like that whatever we had in employee. Okay, same thing here, one more. This is weak entity type. So whenever we will be having weak entity type, here always total participation will come. And this is relationship type also, this will say as a identifying relationship type always. Okay, so this is also will come as a twice rhombus. Okay, so this one will write it, and depends on the this one, sorry, cardinality ratio, we have to write it depending on situation. So here can we write as a 1 is to n or n is to 1, anything? So one patient can have n number of relatives
So
or
I feel
friends.
1:n.
1 is to n, normally it will come this one only. This is a one patient can have n number of relations. Okay, so like that we can write it. So here what are concepts we studied, if possible try to add all those things in your ER diagram. Okay. Yeah, so these things you have to write it, and you have to make sure that all are covered, then you have to explain these things. Okay, so no need to write as a this is my key, this is my attribute, all those things. Small things, no need to write it. Main thing you have to write it is how cardinality ratio is there, how total participation is there, and a little bit about weak entity type. And overall in one shot you can write as a I have 5 entity types, and these are the keys in that entity types. Directly you can write it. Okay, so what about this one here, entity will get the key or not? In weak entity type we'll get the key or not? Suppose I have written as a here name. Okay, so then something as a phone number. So here we'll be having the key or not in this one. Like here we had as a PID, here DID, that is, then here SID. Okay, here for medicine also some number will be there. Okay, so I whatever ISI mark logo, whatever will write it for that, some identification number also will be there for each medicine. Okay, so whenever manufacturing will happen, that time only it will come. Okay, so like that here considering EMID is there. Okay, so this is the primary key. So like that here in weak entity type, so always weak entity type will not have the any key attribute. So here one attribute you have to take it as there is nothing but identifying attribute. Okay, so here we'll mark this one as a with dotted lines is nothing but this is identifying entity type. So with name in this database, this patient, from patient you are identifying this relation. Okay, so this relative whatever is there from this patient, we are identifying this person. Okay, this relative whatever is this person. Okay, so we are taking name as a dotted lines, we are writing it. Okay, here straight line we will write it all primary sorry, keys. Okay, so here if it is a weak entity type is there, means there we will not be having the key, so we will write here as a dotted lines. Any doubts? No. Okay, so hope
No,
hope
sir.
hope you can write it the CR diagram. Make sure that is it always every time by default. I think a 2A or 2B question will be there as a your ER diagram for 10 marks. Okay, I will consider as all of you will get 10 marks. Yes.
So it is specified what else? We only have to specify all our entities and all.
No, you have to write it. He will not give it. Okay, sometimes only he will give it specifically. That is very rare case. He will say as a this is like a hospital management system. So like that maybe library management system. So what all things you required? So you have to identify it. For a library management system, if you are considering, again, student will come, staff will come. Okay, so inside a college it will be there like that. So whatever things will come, so those all things you have to identify. For a library, you will come as a staff, student, books. Okay, so like that you can identify it. So then any relation is there between those. So those all things you have to write it. And whenever you are writing with respect to library management system, that time student and staff, whatever will be there, you should not make a relation there. There is a relation actually. Okay, so student may be studying under the staff like that. Okay, so the staff is teaching this subject, but with respect to library management system, you have to think and you have to write the answer. Okay. Yeah. So same thing, correct.
So majority, what kind of question will be approached?
Same thing. You see, he will give as a maximum time. It will come as a company database management system. So whatever we had, we studied, no, that ER diagram. That ER diagram only will be there. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
But
sir.
screen is not visible.
Screen one here. Connection lost. It came. Okay. So here the so what I was saying, he will ask normally company related thing only. So other than that, he will mention something. Okay. So depending on that, you can say as a this one is you have to create your own entity types. Okay. Then relationship types, and you have to write it. Okay. He will not give any specific one.
Okay, sir.
Any doubts?